Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Grounded Brand Podcast. We are here for episode number 8, and it is finally turkey season.
Yep.
Couple weeks now, actually.
2 weeks in, I think it started the day after our last recorded episode.
Yep.
Release.
Yep.
Sure did.
Yeah, because we were all on the edge of our seat trying to get out of here.
Yeah, man. Couldn't wait.
Yep.
Got a few updates. Colton's had a little bit of surgery going on the shoulder.
I did. Yep. Had my surgery. Thank goodness it wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So they just kind of went in and did some cleanup. So now I'm doing physical therapy, and they asked me what my goal was the other day when I started, and I said I need to kill a turkey by the end of April. And then they said, well, are you left-hand dominant? I said, nope. And they're like, ooh, all right, we'll push it.
So what's that look like for you? Is that therapy every other day, every day?
It's twice a week. So
Gotcha.
it's I'm a little sore lately.
I bet.
That's all right.
It'll all be worth it, man.
It will be. It
Yeah.
will be come into
So
April.
you're saying that there's still a chance.
There's a chance, man.
There's a chance.
There's a chance.
Awesome.
Let's go.
There's a chance.
Let's
man.
go.
We'll get it.
That's right.
We'll have a big celebration.
We will.
I'm
Yep.
ready, man. Bring it on.
Brandon, how's your season going so far?
Do we have to talk about it?
No, we don't if you don't want to.
No, man. We can talk about it. So, yeah, I've been able to go. I've been fortunate enough to go a few times.
Yeah.
Been on some birds just about every opportunity I've gone, and actually pulled the trigger on one.
Yeah.
And we ain't going to say what happened
Dang.
afterwards. But let's just say I pulled the trigger and didn't go home with the bird. So it was pretty tough.
And that hurts.
It does, yeah. But you know what? I learned from it.
That's right.
So I know what I did wrong. So hopefully I will avoid that mistake next time.
Amen.
So we only got one true killer in here today. So you want to tell the audience what happened?
Yeah, I'll tell them.
Drew gets the gold star this
Yeah, he
episode.
does.
Yeah, so I've been able to go a couple times. Got Lincoln on a turkey.
Yeah.
Didn't get a chance to shoot. Could have had a turkey probably 25, 30 yards, and the trigger was just too stiff for him.
Right.
On the gun. I guess we didn't quite practice enough before the season started, but
Yeah.
got close. So that was a fun hunt, and got to watch my dad shoot one morning. Called two in, me and him, and I watched him shoot one. So that was a good time. And then a couple days ago, me and him called two turkeys up.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to commit. We were in a cow pasture, and they kind of came up. They were with some hens, and the hens were actually had left them.
Right.
And these two birds, come in, kind of following them. They're probably 100 yards or so behind the hens, and they get maybe 120 yards from us. And we had already been yelping to them a little bit.
Yeah.
That's probably part of the reason they came up there, and they looked, and just not seeing a hen in the cow pasture up there where we were at, they didn't want to commit, and they started going to our right, parallel on us, and luckily we were on the edge of a little terrace, and so I was able to roll off the back of the terrace, and I cut out maybe, 50, 60 yards down the fence line, and I guess they heard me crawling.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I think. Dad stayed there, and he kept calling to them, and they walked back up there and got too close.
Game over.
Probably 30, 35-yard shot.
Yeah.
It did take two. I did not make a good shot
Right.
the first time. Now, the turkey he would have died for sure.
Yeah.
But did have to make a follow-up shot, which is
Right.
not always fun.
No, it's not. But the main point is you got the bird down and
Yeah.
got them killed and
Yeah.
get to eat them now.
But I will say, it's been tough sledding. So this past weekend, just yesterday, the second weekend of turkey season,
Yeah.
Lincoln, my 6-year-old son, he had baseball opening day for him.
Mm-hmm.
We had to be there at 9:00. Beautiful morning yesterday, so
Yeah, it was.
didn't get to go to the woods yesterday, and then did lunch with my in-laws after that in the afternoon. So didn't get to go at all yesterday, and then the weekend before also had family commitments. So I hadn't had the opportunity to go as much as I really want to. So
Right.
And it's been a hard week. I mean, as
Yeah.
far as weather-wise goes,
Yeah.
because it's been a beautiful first week to the season.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen a week to start the season like this week has started.
I know. I mean, just literally here in Alabama, at
Yeah.
least North Alabama, and most of Alabama for that matter, has been what you would dream of as a turkey hunter.
Right.
Not much wind,
Yeah.
sunshine,
Right.
clear days, kind of cool in the mornings,
Yep.
highs maybe, high 50s, low 60s. So
Yeah.
good goblin weather, good weather to hunt all day in. And it's been tough, man.
Even
as
in
far
the-
as just not getting to go.
I mean,
Right.
even in the evenings, like we had some storms,
Yeah.
in the week last week. But even then, I mean, as far as at my house, which I'm a little farther south than you guys, but like, man, we got like a drop of rain, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the weather's been beautiful, and I mean, I can say at least from my perspective, it was killing me knowing that I could go, but I'd be in a whole lot of hurt if I went.
Yeah.
So
We still got to get you to. We need to figure out some dates to get you once your shoulder gets healed up. But I feel like we need to prepare you before then and actually carry you on a hunt or two just to be in the woods with.
well, I'll tell
kinda
you
get
what.
an
I
idea.
mean, not my plan is because this next week I got to go travel.
Yeah.
But my plan is the week after that, I'm gonna push it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. If I gotta take a painkiller or something in the morning to go, I'll push it. But I mean, I got an itch.
Whatever it takes for sure. I think it was. I forget what day it was this week, but when you called me, I was telling you about the bird that I missed, and you were like, "Man, been nice to get an invite to come on that." I'm like, Colton, dude, just to let you know, I probably crawled 80 yards to get to a point where I could even get a shot on this bird.
And what did I say right after that?
You said, "Yeah, I probably."
Yeah, I
could've
probably
been
wouldn't have gone that one.
Not in
Yeah.
a cast anyway.
No.
You just stayed 80 yards back there and watched his happy tail crawl into them rocks.
Yeah, man.
I would have been like, "Go get him, Tiger," and I
Yeah.
would have stayed back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man. So I've been able to go a few times myself. Bailey and I have really gone more this year together than we did last year, and so we've had a couple of youth seasons open up where we're at, whether it be Tennessee, Madison County, and then also Jackson County. So she and I have been going several times and had the opportunity to. I mean, if we were out killing jaits, I mean, she could have killed her limit on jaits. I mean, we've seen a bunch of good jaits come through. But she was fortunate enough to harvest one last year. And so our goal this year is to get her a long beard. And she understands that, not necessarily in the moment.
Right.
She wanted to kill one of those jaits the other day.
Yeah.
But, you just explaining to her, it's like, hey, let's leave these for next year. That's when they're really fun to hunt, when they're gobbling and doing their thing. And she understands once you explain it to her a little bit better, And then, we've had commitments as well, too, Drew. We had this weekend, Bailey and her soccer team made some birdhouses, and we got the opportunity through our church at a neighborhood to hang some of these birdhouses up in their playground area. So we took yesterday to do that.
Yeah.
And Tennessee youth season actually opened up yesterday. And so I asked Bailey, I was like, hey, do you want to go after we hang these birdhouses up? Would you want to go on a turkey hunt? So she said, yeah. So it takes us a good hour and 15 minutes to get to this place. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're committed once you get there.
Yeah.
And we get there and set up. And I was telling Drew this story earlier, but we're hunting this field, and through the woods, you can see partial of another field. And I happen to look out there, and I see some turkeys. There's 3 of them in the field in between. I can't really make out what they are other than they're just birds, turkeys. And I get my binoculars up, look up, and one of them's got a beard hanging. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's game on now. Bailey's fixing to get her first long beard. And so anyways, they finally worked their way over to us, and what we realized is it was a bearded hen. And so I think we probably could. I'm not really sure what the regulations are, but I think you can kill a bearded hen in Tennessee.
Yeah, you can.
But, that's not what we're after.
That's right.
And I've also heard that bearded hens, I'm not sure if there's any truth to this, but they produce multi-bearded gobblers.
There is
so-
no scientific evidence that proves that.
Well,
But
a lot of people say it is.
a lot of people say it is.
Yeah, man. So, but yeah, man, our season's, it's been good. And like I said, I did mention that I did miss a bird this week as well, too. I learned from that experience, sometimes when it's cool outside, the birds will have their heads tucked into their bodies a little bit. They don't present you with a good target to shoot at. And the fact that I just crawled 80 yards didn't help the situation either. So I'm pumping full of adrenaline. I'm a little bit cold. The bird's coming down. I got a quick shot I need to make. I just didn't make time to cut at it or make some kind of noise to get its attention to give me a larger target. And because of that, I feel like I missed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But the bird was okay. I saw him take off, and he pitched off onto a bench down below me, and then turned up, and then walked off the property, and then it was over with. It was, we'll see you next year.
Yeah.
So,
I think what we're trying to say is, life happens.
Yeah.
Right.
We're still, dealing with it ourselves, even though, you may see all these people on social media,
Yeah.
They've got 2 or 3 birds by now.
mm-hmm.
There's still people we don't even have one yet. Well, some people don't have one yet.
Yeah.
But, life happens, and I think it's just important to keep that mindset of, there's still time, there's still
Yeah.
opportunities. Don't get caught up, don't get frustrated. Life's going to happen, and just enjoy the moments when you go.
Absolutely. Just be where you are.
Yeah.
I think Dwayne hit up on that a couple of weeks ago, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
something I've really had to focus on the last week or so because,
And Zach too.
and
Yeah,
Zach too, yeah.
Yeah.
So just really focus on where you're at. If you're at work, be focused on work.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
in the woods, be focused on the hunt. If you're at home with family, be focused on your family.
Yep.
Just do what you can with where you are.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Just try your best to be, have a thankful attitude.
yeah,
In all things.
absolutely, man.
It's easier said than done,
Yep.
but
Mm-hmm.
be encouraged. Because we're people that work every day and we have families. And
Yep.
if we had it our way, we would get to turkey hunt every single day
Yep.
that the season was open.
Yep.
But we've got responsibilities, and hey, it is what it is.
That's it.
Yeah.
Man.
Now, we're going to start getting into our topic here, and this is something that, even as someone who's never even been on a turkey hunting trip before, I see this as a huge topic right now.
Yeah.
I've seen it posted on Facebook and like turkey hunting groups, and I've seen it on Old Gobbler and things like that. We're gonna talk about turkey hunting etiquette today, and I kind of want to set this up for everyone. It's something that people got differing opinions on. People have different ways, different what's the word I'm looking for? Traditions and stuff that they do.
Yeah.
But, I think what is really driving this right now is we've seen a lot this year of, people posting pictures of like game cameras, and it's just someone out walking their property and they don't know who it are. I've seen that a ton this year.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to kind of talk about it because, we've got some thoughts behind it. We asked you guys on social media, what are some of your thoughts on it as well?
Yeah.
So Brandon, why don't you kick us off about, turkey hunting etiquette?
Yeah, man. So this is it's kind of funny that we're talking about this because the season here has been open for 2 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already had 2 incidents where, I've been on a piece of property and part well before anybody else was there.
Both of them private, by the way.
Both of them are private. No, they are hunting clubs. So, it's somewhat paid public hunting land.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are other people
There are
who
other
pay
people
to be there.
that pay
Right.
to be there as well, too. And so this is something I've really not really had to deal with in the past. And I don't know if it's because maybe we just have more new hunters coming into the sport or exactly what it is. But opening morning, my buddy Taylor, who was on the episode with us last week, we went to this new spot that we just started hunting. It's actually the first year. And so the place that we hunt, they actually have a map that you go in and you actually supposed to pin your number on the map of where you're going to be hunting at. So Taylor and I had already planned on going to this certain spot, but when we got there, somebody had already beaten us to it. They'd already put their number on the pin on the map, and I'm like, that's fine. We'll go to a different place. Well, I put my magnet on there, and Taylor and I get there, and nobody else is there. And there's different pieces on this place, right? And so I felt like it'd be a good spot for us to go to. And so we get there, and we're sitting there. We're still probably 30, 45 minutes, I guess, before we actually need to be getting out of the truck and be making a move. And keep in mind, it's our first time ever on this property, so we don't really know what to expect, to be honest with you. It just looks good from the aerial and from maps. And so we're sitting there just waiting on the right time to get out, and I notice a truck coming down the road. I don't think anything about it, and I'm thinking, well, if it's anybody from the club, they're going to have to go down to the check-in station first, see that we're here, and it won't be a big deal. No, this dude rolls in. Not only does he roll into the same spot that we're in, but he rolls in on past where we're parked at, doesn't stop to see if we're in the truck or anything, gets out, starts getting his gear on, and I look at Taylor, and I'm like, this dude is really fixing to get out and start hunting and not even check to see where we're at or anything. And so just to be honest with you, it made me a little upset about it. So I started the truck up and pulled up there where he was at, rolled down my window. I said, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" He said, "Oh, I roosted a bird here last night. I'm fixing to get out and go up there and hunt it. Y'all don't mind, do you?" And I'm like, yeah, I kind of do mind, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, is it really worth getting into an argument right here?
Right.
Well,
First
especially
morning.
it's first morning. It's the first year you've been at this property and
Yeah.
things like that too.
Exactly. And I looked at Taylor and I'm like, I know this dude because I saw him come in down the road, and I know he didn't go to camp. I know he didn't check anything out. The only thing he did was he came in the night before, happened to roost a bird, which happened to be where we were headed to. And just, I guess because he roosted a bird, just automatically assumed that, hey,
It's my bird.
it's my bird. I'm
Yeah.
going there. And that's something I've never had to run across before, but it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And to me, man, if that was me, and Taylor and I had this same conversation afterwards, it's like, dude, if you're hunting a tract, yeah, the hunting club is like 2,600 acres, I think. But the part that we were hunting was only like 100.
Yeah.
Okay. I could understand if you're the type of hunter that just goes to a place and sits on a tree
Right.
and hunts, and you got two different people that are hunting that way. That's fine. You know, you can probably do that on 100 acres.
Yeah.
But that's not my MO. That's not the type of hunting that I do, and I'm sure that's probably not the type of hunting that he does either. Because I mean, that 100 acres, I'm not gonna lie, man, we can tear that up in a heartbeat.
Right.
It don't take long
No, it doesn't.
for a good turkey hunter to cover 100 acres.
Absolutely,
No.
man. That's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
to me, man, if I see that, first off, if I see another vehicle there, for me, I'm just gonna pull out. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
even gonna risk it. I'm not gonna go in there and mess that guy's hunt up. And then if you do, have the respect to at least stop and see where they're going
Yeah.
before you just automatically throw your stuff on and take after them. You know, what if Taylor and I had already been up there?
Yeah.
You know, and then he comes in here barging in, and it could have messed our hunt up. You know, and there's a safety issue there's safety that goes along with that too.
Well, I mean, that just happened recently too. I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember what podcast it was on, but there was a guy, I think in Mississippi,
Yep.
that, you know, some people had already set up there, and a guy came rolling up in the same area and he got shot.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, you're right. There's a safety thing. Now I have a clarifying question.
Mm-hmm.
When you went in and, like, you know, you pinned yourself on the map
Yeah.
and stuff like that, how many other people were there?
There was only one other person that had already put their pin on the map, and where that guy had put his pin at, that's where we wanted to go originally that morning. But
It's, I don't know. So we asked this question. We you know, on Instagram, we talked about that we were gonna, you know, do this episode, and we had a guy, Nick Thomas,
Yeah.
you know, messaged us, and this was his thing as well. And I think from my perspective, you know, just for like a courtesy, no way I would have ever like rolled up in the same spot.
no,
Unless I'm meeting someone at that same spot.
exactly.
Like, no way. But,
Yeah.
you know, to me also, like, I just think it's my personality where, like, even if I had a bird, you know, there the night before, like, there's nothing there that says, like, hey, that's my bird
Right.
in that tree. You know, so I agree. And there's other people. I mean, I think this is a huge topic of conversation right now across, you know, turkey hunting as a whole. It's like, hey, have the courtesy if someone's already there, and especially on like public land. I see this talked about a lot with like WMAs and things like that. If there's, you know, if there's someone already at the spot where you're gonna go to another spot.
That's right.
Because I mean, I imagine, Drew, I'm sure you've had a scenario where this has, you know, happened as well.
So unfortunately, yes, I have experienced some of that firsthand, seen it firsthand from really two different scenarios. And so I want to kind of go into the world of waterfowl hunting or duck hunting because I feel like duck hunting is about 10 years ahead of turkey hunting, or we're about 10 years behind where duck hunting is. And I say all that because roughly 10 years ago, the world of duck hunting exploded, and turkey hunting is doing that right now, right? I think we're all seeing that. There's more people turkey hunting right now than there ever has been, and there's a lot more hunter conflict. And so in the world of duck hunting, it is just, you get on these forums or get on Facebook groups and pages and read like about hunting public land in Arkansas, and it's laughable. It is laughable. The things that people experience. I mean, you'll have 2 or 3 groups of people hunting one hole
Wow.
in these flooded timber units out there, you know, and you just hear horror stories about that stuff. And we don't want turkey hunting to go that route.
No,
That's one thing is like, we don't want this side of what we do to have to experience that.
Yeah.
And so we're hopefully going to be able to help some people learn a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I'll give a couple instances that I've experienced through the years. One of them was I hunted a WMA this was probably 6 years ago now, and right here close, and pulled in one morning and got there super early. Me and Dad did. I said, hey, let's get there early, because if there's somebody there, we're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to have to go somewhere else, so let's just be the first ones there.
Right.
And it's small, kind of like what you were talking about. You know, this place was about 200 acres, maybe 250 max, but still small enough to where me and Dad can hunt the whole thing ourselves easily, you know, one morning. And end up getting there like 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, which for turkey hunters is not that early.
No.
Nobody there. Nobody else gets there until 5:30.
Yep.
Well, where do they come? Right behind us.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, literally, we're walking down the field edge, you know, and they pull in the parking lot. So I shine my flashlight out and say, hey, we're kind of, you know, we're going to go down this way.
Right.
So I kind of suspected they would turn and they would go across the road and up the mountain. And that's not at all what happened. That morning, there was 6 more trucks after that dude that pulled in there.
Golly.
Man.
And they all stayed.
Yeah, that don't make no sense.
And dude, it just burned me up. There is no respect.
Right.
And this has got to change.
Yeah, it does.
It's got to change. Public land, if you see somebody parked at a gate, go somewhere else.
For real.
If it's a huge area behind the gate, let's say there's 10,000 acres behind this one gate, and this is really the best access point.
Yeah.
Get your tail out and go talk to them.
Yeah, see where they're going.
I'm not asking you for a spot. My name's so-and-so. I was going to hunt here this morning. Obviously, you beat me here, and you were here first, so I'd like to give you first right, because that's, you know, the right thing to do and the fair thing to do.
Yeah.
But, and you don't have to tell me exactly where you're going, but just kind of give me a general idea, because there's 10,000 acres back here.
Yeah.
And you can't hunt all that.
No.
So you go one direction and I'll go the other direction.
Yeah.
But don't just not pull up and then get out and don't say nothing to them.
Yeah, that's kind of with my story, what happened with us. I mean, I would have had a whole different outlook on it had he had stopped and talked to us and said, hey, man, I'm such and such. I was here last night. I heard this bird. Do you mind if I go up there and go after it? You know, that would have been a whole different conversation that we would have had.
Right.
And wouldn't have minded that at all, you know. But just to roll in there and just assume, hey, I don't care where you're going.
Yeah.
This is where I'm going.
Right.
Just because I was here the night before. Just like you said, man, there just needs to be some respect there.
In that instance, I mean, honestly, it makes you or makes me want to just be like, that's fine, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow your tail right up in there.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to flush the turkey out.
Exactly.
And that ain't the right thing to do. I'm not saying I'd really do that, but that's how it makes you feel on the inside.
Yeah.
Versus if somebody else does exactly what you said. Hey, man, I roosted a turkey up here. I've been, watching this bird for 3 days. And would you mind if I went in here? And yeah, absolutely. Have at it. Appreciate you stopping and talking to me and introducing yourself.
Well,
do you guys think this is something with like an issue with new turkey hunters?
Definitely.
Or do you think it's more like, and I'm sure it's both sides of the coin, right? Mm-hmm. There's an issue with new turkey hunters probably being, a little nervous, not knowing, like Brandon said, like it was his first morning. Maybe, your story's a little different, but like at WMA is like not knowing the area and stuff like that, and they don't want to bother anyone. Or do you think it's people that are like have somewhat prideful that are like, hey, this is my area. I've been coming here for 30 years, something like that.
I feel like it's both.
Yeah.
Like you see it from both sides, but I feel like a lot more of the issues come from your younger guys that have not had mentors to get into this sport. And they've watched stuff on YouTube and they've read stuff on forums and Facebook and Instagram. And that's where they've learned how to hunt, which is not bad at all. I'm not knocking that.
Yeah.
But most of the people, the younger people that I see hunting that don't have those mentors are the ones that typically create these problems.
And I think what does it come down to, really? Communication.
Yeah. That's it.
Right? Like, just communicate with the person beside you or, someone at the gate. Like, hey, where are you going? So I know where to go,
And sometimes it don't even matter. Like I said, my place, you put your pin on the map, and they still come on in on it.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I like that idea a lot. I think
Yeah.
that's a really smart idea as long as it's followed.
It is. But it does become a hassle if you get to a place and
Yeah.
there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And then you got to drive back to wherever it is, take your pin off, move it, and then go
Right.
and keep on doing that.
Yeah,
you know?
true.
But, I'd much rather do that than have somebody just roll in on you. But, I mean, if you're not even going to go in there and check it anyways, what's it matter even having one?
Yeah.
So
That's a good point.
But also, I think you have a lot of people that do that. I think they're just lazy, to be honest with you. I feel like they've not taken the time to really look at the available areas that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they've just zoned in on one place and they only got one plan.
Yeah.
And so instead of taking some extra time and doing some scouting
Mm-hmm.
elsewhere, they want to go where it's easy to access.
Mm-hmm.
They want to go where maybe they've killed birds in the past, and they just don't take the time to scout other areas or know where birds like to hang out at. And they just feel like, well, this is where I'm going. I don't care who's here or who's not here.
You always got to have plans A, B,
Yeah.
C, D, and E.
Absolutely.
Honestly,
Yeah.
if you hunt a lot of public, you really need to have five places scouted out. And I'm not saying you got to know them inside and out, but just at least in your head or marked on Hunt Stand or Onyx or whatever, app you want to use. Hey, if there's somebody at this gate, I'm going to go down to this one. If there's somebody at that one, I'm going to go on to the third one. If there's somebody at that one, go to the fourth one, But at least have it in your head, some different options.
Yeah.
And it don't take that long, especially just to map scout.
Right. That's
Because honestly, you'll never know what you're going to find when you get there. You may come up on a gold mine right next to the road that ain't nobody else hunting because it's right next to the road.
exactly. Yeah. So just taking time,
Yeah.
just taking time, studying the maps and making sure you got other plans that you can hit up if you get to your first couple of spots and somebody's there. And if you do get there and the property's big enough, man, just have the decency to talk to them if they're there and know where they're going and just try not to hit their same area up. So, yeah.
At the end of the day, it comes down to treat other people like you want to be treated.
Yep.
Yep.
The golden rule, right?
I mean, that's what we need to do, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of, that's a little bit about public land. So let's talk about private land because, Brandon talked about, his experience being on private land as well. So the turkey that I actually killed a couple of days ago, actually we weren't far. We were probably 100 yards from the line, from the property line, maybe 150. But like I said, we were in open cow pasture and, anyway, shot this turkey and literally not 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute after I shoot this turkey, here comes the neighbor on his side by side flying down the hill,
Yeah.
and I'm sure he thought we were on his place,
Right.
Well,
and
100
so-
yards off the line. I mean, that sounds close.
Yeah, you can't tell that with a shotgun,
Right.
Especially he was inside his house.
Right.
And so he's, he comes down there, gets off, and he had kind of gone back towards the mountain a little bit from where we were at, so we couldn't see him. And he spent, 5 or 10 minutes back there, and then gets back in his Ranger, rides the fence line, doesn't see us, and so he turned and went back up the hill towards the house. And after we had got the bird checked in and walked back to the truck, we were actually getting ready to go home, and Dad said, hey, let's just go up here and talk to the neighbor.
Yeah.
And tell him, hey, just want to meet you. Here's who we are.
Yeah.
And just want to let you know, you're not going to have a problem with us trespassing.
Right. Yeah.
And so we did get up there, and he's standing on the front porch before we can even get out the truck. And I mean, he is.
He's heated.
Yeah, he's heated. He said,
Yeah.
what, y'all shoot that turkey in my backyard?
Yeah.
Just immediately.
Yeah.
On the defense.
And Dad's like, oh, no. That's why we wanted to come up here. But we saw you come down the hill in your Ranger, and we wanted to come meet you. And we got permission to hunt your neighbor's place and have for several years now. And just wanted to let you know, you're not going to have that experience with us.
Yeah.
And he calmed down super fast, was very understanding, but he has had a lot of problems from his other neighbor. Them guys that hunt his other neighbor's place have been coming down there stealing all his no trespassing signs. They went as far as scraping the purple paint off the trees that he painted and marked his boundary lines with.
That's frustrating.
So, I would probably be a little frustrated if I was him too.
I think I'd be in the same boat as him. Yeah, for sure.
But, that's something that you can do. Just go introduce yourself to the neighbors.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have permission to hunt it, but you can still have a good relationship with them.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you represent the turkey hunting community.
Absolutely.
And their perception of the community is either going to be positive or negative.
Right.
Yep.
We want them to have a positive attitude of
Yep.
us because at the end of the day, we are true conservationists.
Yep.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
So go meet the neighbors next to the private that you have to hunt. And if you don't have permission to hunt it, stay off of it.
Yeah.
for sure.
Which is hard to do as a turkey hunter. When you're sitting there and you ain't got nothing gobbling, but dadgum 150 yards across the line, there's a turkey gobbling.
Yep.
You want to get, oh man, don't nobody hunt that place. Don't nobody hunt that place. Let's
Yeah.
go. You know, I ain't going to sit here and tell you it's easy because it ain't.
No, it's not.
But be
need to-
respectful and do the right thing, guys.
So
do
at-
the right thing.
So at my parents' place, they've got 30 acres in South Alabama, and their front window looks across a cow pasture at the neighbor's place. And I'll be darned if the biggest deer and turkey I've ever seen are not always just 100 yards across into that cow pasture. And, you know, there's times where, you know, the neighbor has come by and, you know, their property butts up real close and we'll shoot a deer or something. And, you know, the neighbor will come by and be like, hey, was that on my property or not? You know, and it's especially in a situation like that where, you know, the properties are so close, you know, just talk to your neighbor, just be courteous.
I'll be honest with you, man. So I hunt this place up in Tennessee, and it's a large piece. I think it's like around 450 acres for private land, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
And I was out there hunting one day, and the neighboring property, the guy has another 400 acres. And the birds like to roost on our property, and then they'll fly down, and then they like to go over into the hardwoods onto the other place. And one day I was out there just hunting, you know, and I just happened to see the neighbor out there who had it. And so I just wanted to go over there for one and introduce myself. No agenda behind it at all.
Right.
Because, you know, I'm close to his property. I'm sure he sees me out there with a shotgun. I'm sure he's wanting to know what's going on there.
Yeah.
So I just took the time and went over there and talked to him and had a good conversation with him, you know, 30 minutes. And guess what? It led to, hey, man, if you're ever over here and you got a bird that's gobbling over here on my place, you are more than welcome to come over here and go after him.
Yep.
And so just those conversations and just taking the time to introduce yourself and let them know why you're there, man, it goes a long ways.
Long ways.
And not only that, when you have those conversations, you can typically find out if anybody else is hunting the piece of property that borders you as well, too. So you can kind of get an idea of what kind of pressure the birds may have on them.
Well, you know what? And I think that leads into kind of like another point, too, that I've been seeing a lot on social media and like on the groups and stuff is if you get permission, you have permission.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean your buddy John has permission because you talked to him and told him about it.
Yep.
Like you are the only one. Now, might be a different scenario. Like if Brandon's carrying me somewhere, but you're with me. Like at that point, you know, so don't say like, hey, I got permission. You should go ask and see if you can get permission.
Right. No.
Because then that just paints a whole nother bad picture.
So one thing I've always done with all the private land that I have permission to hunt at is when I ask for permission, I ask for myself and I ask if my child can go.
Okay.
And so that is always one of the first things I ask for. And if anybody...
Can I be your child?
No, cannot be my child. But
I might be young enough.
I know, but I've always had the decency to reach out to the landowner and say, hey, my buddy wants to go with me. My brother wants to go with me. Will it be a problem? I already know the answer. He's not going to care.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but just out of respect, hey, this is a great opportunity that he's given me, that he's allowed me to hunt. I'm going to at least let him know, hey, man, if for some reason you come up here and you see me, is it okay if I bring my buddy with me? And 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah. Especially if you aren't paying for that opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is mess up any opportunity that you have because hunting land is so hard to come by these days.
That's right.
So definitely treat it the way you would want it to be treated if it belonged to you. But yeah, just having the decency to communicate with your landowners goes a long way as well too. And if you get the opportunity, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this: treat your landowners great.
Yeah.
You know, thank you cards, Christmas gifts, offer meat from the turkey if you're able to harvest it. You know, it just little stuff like that.
Carry them out to lunch or something.
Carry them out
that
to
day.
lunch, whatever. You know? So definitely, man.
Yeah.
Goes a long ways.
So getting more into the ethical, side of turkey hunting, let's talk about, taking a shot on a bird, what is ethical, what is not ethical, several years ago we just had lead shot, and then we had heavy shot, and now we've got TSS, and we've got choke tube manufacturers now that can create some extremely tight patterns. So let's talk about that side of it, and what turkey hunters need to do, what they need to look for, and how they need to act and shoot in the field.
So first thing, any hunter that goes out there had better have taken the time to pattern their shotgun.
Yep.
And they need to have done that before the season started. And I mean, for me, I know what choke I use. I've been using it for the last 4 or 5 years. I know what shells I'm going to be running as well too. I'm going to go ahead and replace the batteries on my red dot that I use. We ran into a situation last year where my buddy didn't replace his for like 2 years and had a bird come in, and he couldn't find the red dot, and I was ready to knock the safety off mine, but he switched it over to green and was able to see a green dot. But yeah, having taking the time to make sure you're patterning your gun, making sure you've got the best shot load that you can for the gun that you're shooting, and making sure that you're shooting at different distances as well too, because the last thing you want to do is shoot at a turkey that's too far and you end up wounding it. I mean, that's terrible. As hunters, we have the responsibility. Okay, if God's given us this opportunity to pull the trigger on an animal, we better have done our due diligence and making sure that everything is where it needs to be at. Because the last thing we want to do is wound a bird or let a bird suffer. That's not what we're in this for at all. And if somebody is, they need to get out of the sport. So for me, it's always been one of my high priorities to make sure that I'm shooting a load that's going to take that bird out as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Talking about patterning your gun, there's a lot of people that don't understand why you pattern a shotgun. So when you shoot a rifle or you sight a rifle in, you've got one bullet trying to hit one target.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, a shotgun is very similar when you're talking about turkey hunting. So you've got a pattern that goes out. It's got hundreds of pellets in this pattern. But the center of this pattern where majority of the pellets hit may be, left and high or low and right. Each gun shoots just a little bit different. And so you need to know and you need to understand as a hunter where the center of that pattern is going to hit.
Yep.
And not all guns shoot what they call true point of aim, point of impact. So you may aim at, a turkey's head, but point of impact may be right, may be left, may be high. So that's what Brandon means when he's talking about you need to shoot your gun, you need to pattern your gun beforehand to understand that side of it. Right. So you guys that are new and getting into it, that's the importance of it. It's probably going to throw a good pattern. Almost all shotguns do.
Yeah.
But you got to know where that pattern hits.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just like last year, I mean, my gun was fine.
Right.
I didn't have any issues with it at all. But had I taken it to the woods this year, and I know I missed a bird, but it's not because of that. It was other situations. But had I not shot it, when I shot it this year, pattern it was shooting low and it was shooting to the right. Mm-hmm. And I had to make those adjustments to get it to where I wanted it to be, where it needed to be.
And I'll say this too. I know that a lot of guys are shooting TSS now, which is great. Yeah. And I definitely recommend that. You still got to take, you still got to know your yardage. You still got to understand this turkey's 40 yards or he's 70 yards. And so when you're in the field, kind of a good rule of thumb is, or a good, I guess, tip or tactic to guess that yardage, because if you're hunting in the woods, it can be easier than hunting in a field. Those distances can really get you thrown off in a field and mess with your head.
Absolutely.
Especially if you've got terraces in the field and topography, it rolls, things like that. But say when you sit down, look around you and say, okay, well, that clump of grass looks to be about 20 yards.
Yeah.
So I'm going to double that. That's about 40. Yep. So, hey, let's get this turkey up to this flower that's growing in this field or this log that's laid down in the woods.
Yeah.
So that way you understand your yardages beforehand, because once that turkey commits and he's coming in there,
you ain't got time.
You are not going to be focused on how far's that log laying there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the situation too, because if you got time and you've not heard any birds gobbling at all, you don't have one working, you're just in an area where birds like to hang out at, say midday, if you have a rangefinder, it's definitely worth the time to get it out and just hit a few points, whether it's in a field. Fields are very tricky.
Extremely.
If you're in the hardwoods, it's a little bit easier because you have targets that you can look at.
Yep.
But yeah, because like you said, if you got time, definitely throw a rangefinder. Find what that is. But if you don't, just like you said, just find that clump of grass or that bush or that tree. Hey, this is 20. That's 40. Okay, I feel comfortable shooting right there.
Yep. And every brand of shell is going to shoot different. Out of your gun.
Yep.
They just do. It's based upon how they load it and the powder that they use and the primers that they use and the wads that they use and all of those things play into how that gun patterns.
Yeah.
And I'll even go as far as saying this. I usually buy a box of shells every season, usually a box of 25.
Yeah.
From the same company. And from year to year, I can tell you when I switch to a new box of 25, even though it's the same model, it's the same shot, it's the same, everything's apparently the same in the shell, those other boxes all shoot just a little bit different.
Right. Yeah. They do. So it's important.
It's very important.
Yep.
So to take an ethical shot, understand your distance, but also understand your gun and how it patterns and your shell. I'm not saying you got to shoot TSS because there's some other good rounds and good loads out there, but understand how it works and how it performs out of your gun.
Absolutely. And when you go back to TSS, I mean, I can't tell you the difference of impact makes on a bird. I feel like when you hit them with a TSS compared to the old school shot that we used to do. I remember, what was it? Longbeard XRs? They still make those, and they're good
shell.
Absolutely, man. But I don't know. I just felt like when I hit one with that, it didn't just instantly kill them like it does with TSS. TSS, you hit them with that, and they may flop a little bit, but I can't tell you how many birds I've killed with TSS where there was nothing.
It's stone cold, not much flopping.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I felt like it took care of it. Like they didn't even know what hit them.
Right.
You know? So, if you're going to spend all the extra time and the money and the effort on what you're doing, let's make sure that we're respecting the animal when it comes to making sure our guns are on point as well too. So,
and you brought up something too where this is how I was raised. Hunting hog and deer and stuff, but I'd never take a shot unless I feel like I can put that animal down one time. With hog hunting my first hog was a little bit different, but I've never taken a shot on a deer where I didn't feel like I could drop it instantly.
Right.
And to me, that's the most ethical thing you can do. If you are, and I hear this a lot from you, especially Brandon, just like when we, were talking deer hunting and stuff, but if you don't feel like you can drop that bird in the first shot, don't take it.
That's right.
Come back another day.
Yep.
Because you're either you're going to take a rogue shot and you don't know where that's going.
Right.
Or number two, you're going to wound that turkey and then it's going to be miserable.
Yep.
Or it's going to, die somewhere else and then it'll attract predators and things like that.
Well, not only that,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, not only that, but if you do take a shot and you miss it, you're educating that bird as well too.
Yeah.
So they're already hard enough to kill as it is. Why make it even harder by deciding to take a dumb shot?
Yeah.
So,
and something else you're going to do, you're going to mess with yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to get in your head when you miss a turkey, because I've done it, unfortunately, way too many times. You miss a turkey. Now the next one that's coming in, you're going to be like,
am I going to miss it?
Am I going to miss it? Is he close enough?
Right.
I got to make sure I take a good shot.
Yeah.
You get the yips.
Instead of, just doing it the right way and saying, no, I'm not going to take a questionable shot.
Right.
First time, just, and it's going to happen.
Yep.
If you turkey hunt enough, you're going to miss one. So just go ahead and prepare yourself.
Yep.
So we're going to make good shots. We're going to pattern our guns.
Yep.
So what do we do if we run into a situation let's just say on public, of somebody doing something they're not supposed to be doing?
That's a good question.
You catch them doing it.
Is it my buddy that's doing it? That's Is it the guy that just rolled in?
Yeah, it's the guy that just rolled in.
Yeah. It's the guy who didn't pin his location on the map. And
man, I've never been a tattletale, but when it comes to turkey hunting, I want to make sure that we're doing everything legal, and I want to make sure that we're treating the animal the way it should be, and it's fair chase, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So For me, depending on what it's going to be, if I see somebody's life in danger because they're not following the rules and not doing what's right, then I'm definitely going to reach out to the authorities or whoever that is.
Yeah.
Because you know what? If I find out that they've done something and end up injuring somebody and it's because of me not taking the time to reach out to authorities about it, I may say something to them about it first.
Absolutely.
Just depending on
what it is.
And what the situation is. They may not know. So I may reach out to them first. But if it's putting somebody's life in danger, then I'm definitely going to reach out to Fish and Wildlife or whoever it needs to be.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime human safety is involved, you need to say something.
Yeah.
You need to say something because, you don't want to have a situation like that guy in Mississippi who,
No. I mean,
something like that happens. That's awful.
Somebody might have kids at home, a family at home.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
it's
Don't be
more
negligent.
important than shooting a turkey.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
And, you said you would say something first. Like, that could be a young hunter that just doesn't know.
Doesn't know. Yeah.
And
That's
it's embarrassing probably for that person, but I'd rather have an embarrassing moment than, be waking up in a
Could be
hospital
somebody
or something
new
like
to the
that.
sport, didn't have a mentor like Drew touched on earlier. So, you know what?
Or doesn't have a mentor like Drew.
Yeah,
I know.
that's right.
Would have taught him. Oof.
Yep. I need
Oh,
some
well.
help.
But yeah, have the conversation.
Yep.
But if it's a critical life safety issue, say something
Yep.
for sure.
As far as resources that guys can utilize to learn things more about etiquette than what we've just dived into, I would say probably National Wild Turkey Federation is going to have a lot of really good resources on their website. Turkeys for Tomorrow will have some good stuff. And then honestly, just look at any other hunting organization, nonprofit group out there, whether it be your National Deer Alliance. I mean, a lot of the safety protocol and stuff, that's about uniform across. But I know that NWTF put out a article. It may have been their February issue that talked about hunting etiquette.
Okay.
And it had some really good points. And I think it actually called it like the 10 Commandments of turkey hunting.
Yep.
It's how it worded it. But that's a really good resource. That was a good article that they put out. So just look at that, especially if you're new, you're just getting into the sport. That's a great one to read. It's a short read too, so
Yeah,
there's no excuse.
And there's plenty of resources online. Just do your due diligence and go talk to a fish and wildlife officer or something like that too. Stop by your local office.
But at the end of the day, guys, it's about having fun. But when we encounter other hunters, whether it be public or private, we're going to be respectful.
Yep.
And we're going to treat others how we want to be treated.
Absolutely goes a long ways.
It does. Like, we want the sport of turkey hunting to continue growing and to continue being way different from all the other types of hunting species, out there.
Yep.
And so let's keep it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think this is a really good episode for a lot of people, and it's a very timely subject. There's a lot of buzz around it right now, and I'm glad we did this episode. I think people will hopefully gain a lot from it, and so I think this was for sure great episode.
Yep.
Well, y'all, this has been episode number 8. A few things I want to touch on, before we wrap up with the episode. In case you guys didn't hear or see online or get an email, Grounded's really excited. We've actually partnered with Turkeys for Tomorrow.
Yep.
Big pillar of our company is giving back to those, conservation efforts and things like that. Because like Drew mentioned, at the end of the day, we're true conservationists, and we want to make sure we leave the earth better than, we inherited it. So we have partnered with Turkeys for Tomorrow. If you are a member, you now actually get an exclusive discount at Grounded. So, contact them. They will give you the discount code. Obviously, we don't want to share that publicly because we want that to be for, Turkeys for Tomorrow members.
Absolutely.
The other thing, if you're listening to this, April 14th is the last day we have a bottomland sale going on our website.
Yep.
So any product that we sell, I think besides hats, any product that we sell, so full finger gloves, half finger gloves, our Impact 2.0 vest, our camo, anything that's bottomland pattern is on sale 20% off. So
That's a huge savings on a vest. That's around like $40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big saving. So, if you're wanting to upgrade your gear, now's the time to do it, especially if you like the bottomland pattern because, save you some money.
Yep.
That goes until April 14th at 11:59 p.m. So that's going on the site right now. And as always, this is just a resource that we hope, adds value to your life. If there's a topic that you guys are interested in, this was one actually that has kind of been talked to us about and something that we personally have been talking about. Shoot me an email. It's Colton, Colton, at groundedbrand.com. We can add it to our list. We would love to interact with you guys. We had fun kind of answering some questions on Instagram and stuff. So, next time, we're going to do an episode. We'd love to have it come from, one of you guys, and we'll give you an update. And who knows, maybe by next episode, I'll have a turkey.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Let's do it.
I'll come in full gear,
Yeah, you will.
dressed up. I'll
That'll
have
be
it hanging right here.
That'll be an episode just about Colton's hunting experience.
Golly, I'll be like, I blacked out. I don't know.
Right?
Brandon made me crawl like 80 yards, and then I just blacked out.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. We continue to get a lot of great feedback. As always, you can find us at Grounded Brand Outdoors on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Shoot us an email, for episode requests, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.